I never thought a wild bird would choose me as their person, but one ordinary Tuesday morning changed everything for me. There I was, just another face in the apartment complex, watching this beautiful crow from my kitchen window. For 2 whole months, she'd perch across the street, eyeing me like she was sizing me up. I'd put out some seeds on my balcony, hoping she'd come closer, but she kept her distance. I started calling her Brownie because of her rich, dark feathers that caught the sunlight just right. But then something shifted. Out of nowhere, Brownie flew straight down to my balcony rail. My heart nearly stopped. She looked right at me through the glass door and did something I'll never forget. She actually asked for a scratch. Not with words, obviously, but the way she tilted her head and leaned toward me said everything.
Bobby, Bobby cookieของแม่
What's happening here? I whispered to myself, barely believing what I was seeing. I slowly opened the door and reached out my hand. She didn't flinch. She let me gently scratch behind her head, and I swear I saw her eyes close in contentment.
ตัวยุ่งหนูไม่กินอันเนี้ยของเบาเขาหนูไม่กินของเบาหนูไปกินของหนูตรงนู้นสิ
But then one morning, Brownie showed up with company. A slightly smaller crow stood beside her, watching me cautiously. I realized this had to be her boyfriend. His feathers had these subtle white patches, so I started calling him Chalk Chip. The way he looked at Brownie told me everything. This guy was completely devoted to her. Chip had this incredible gentlemanly behavior that amazed me. He'd always put Brownie first, never taking a single bite before making sure she had eaten, not even once. I'd watch him push food toward her, waiting patiently until she was satisfied before touching anything himself.
ใครร้องค่ะคนนั้นเหรอคะ2 ผัวเมียเหรอคะ
So for weeks, this became our morning routine. The happy couple would visit, eat together, and sometimes just sit on my balcony rail like they own the place. But then I noticed something different about their behavior. Instead of hanging around and relaxing like before, they'd snatch the food and immediately fly off somewhere.
ไปทางนี้ค่ะบ่าวไปตรงนี้นะ
That's when it hit me. They had babies. These weren't just casual visits anymore. They were grocery runs. Chip transformed into the most dedicated father I'd ever seen. He'd make multiple trips, bringing food back to the nest, ensuring his babies ate before he'd even consider taking a bite himself. The little family seemed to have found their perfect rhythm, and I thought I knew everything about my feathered friends. But life had other plans. One morning, I waited for their usual visit, but only Brownie showed up. She looked around frantically, calling out with these urgent caws I'd never heard before. Chip was nowhere to be found. I kept watching, hoping he'd appear around the corner or swoop down from a nearby tree, but he never came. That was the last time I ever saw Chalk Chip, and nobody knows what happened to him. Brownie's entire demeanor changed overnight. The playful, carefree bird I'd grown to love looked exhausted and heartbroken. Even when she was clearly tired and hungry, she still kept coming to my balcony, but not to eat. She'd grab food and immediately fly back to her nest, never taking a moment for herself. So So now this single mother was working twice as hard, doing the job of two parents. She never stopped, never gave up, and somehow managed to raise 3 babies completely alone. Watching her determination broke my heart and filled me with admiration at the same time. But after several weeks of this grueling routine, Brownie finally did something that made me cry happy tears. She brought her 3 babies out from the nest for the first time. These little fuzzy creatures hopped around my balcony, looking up at me with curious eyes while their mother watched proudly. It was like she remembered my kindness during her darkest time and wanted to share this precious moment with me. Here was this wild bird introducing her children to the human who had helped her survive as a single parent. So now my morning routine includes 4 visitors instead of 2. Brownie and her 3 healthy chicks continue to visit their favorite bird lady. That's me, apparently. The babies are getting bolder each day, and I swear they're starting to recognize me just like their mother did. Sometimes I catch Brownie looking at me with what I can only describe as gratitude. She went through the unimaginable loss of her partner, but she never gave up. She taught her babies that some humans can be trusted, that kindness exists even in the wild world. This whole experience changed how I see the creatures around us. These aren't just birds flying by. They're individuals with personalities, relationships, and the capacity to form genuine connections across species lines. Brownie chose me, and in return, I got to witness one of the most beautiful examples of resilience in motherhood I've ever seen. Thank you for watching. If you like the story, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. See you in the next video.